to Josh Robbins from The Athletic.
Steve, given how Brooklyn has a different roster, largely different roster, a different head coach, what, if anything, is applicable from the film study of the prior two matchups during the regular season?
Yeah, and before we start, I would urge everyone, if you haven't done so already, to take some time today and pay tribute to Congressman Lewis. I'm sure a lot of you watched his funeral today, which was powerful and truly one of the great leaders that we've had during our time. In terms of the Brooklyn prep, Josh, you're right. It's different personnel. Obviously, Chuck wasn't the head coach when we played him last time, but he was on the staff as an assistant, and I'm sure they did the same thing. We did watch their games against us also, just because of the personnel piece, the matchups, and you can get an idea, obviously, of player strengths. So even though it's not the same, there's still a lot of valuable information on those tapes.
Jamie Say, WKMG Channel 6.
Steve, I actually have two questions. Were you able to watch Mr. Lewis's funeral in its entirety today, or just part of it?
I just saw part of it. We had meetings. We had actually one league kind of thing, and then we had a staff meeting too. But I was able to watch, I think, like the first 45 minutes.
Okay. I guess my second question is about the game. I'm just wondering, did you have a different kind of message for your guys today? Any kind of message just as they start, this restarted journey?
Actually, yesterday is, to me, these are for our team and for Brooklyn, it's the same thing. These are the equivalent of a playoff game. This 8 games, because we badly want to get to 7th because we don't want the possibility of a play-in. We played our way into the playoffs during the 65 games, and we want to be a playoff team. So I just talked to the guys about, playing groups, subbing. Playoff series are different. So there were things like that, specifics that I won't get into, that we discussed last night.
Dan Savage, OrlandoMagic.com.
Cliff, you just touched on it a little bit there, but, how do you approach that psychologically? Because, normally as you revamp any season, there's a little give there, but, in this circumstances, you're starting off with arguably, your most important games of the season.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in this league, transparency is everything with the players. So basically, that's the way I explained it to them. These are our 8 most important games. They're unique. We're still trying to find our rhythm, get more organized as a team, and so are they. So everybody's in the same place. There's a more level playing field, and the teams that play the games, win or lose, correct their mistakes quicker, and make improvement during this 10, 11, 12, 14, 15 days will be the teams that benefit by the end.
Eric Wilson, 1070.
Coach, along those same lines. Actually, before I forget, let me just say thank you. As a media guy, a Black media guy, I appreciate everything that you have done off the court as far as keeping the conversation going. So with that being said, do you still plan to run out a 9 or 10-man rotation tonight, or will it just be as the game progresses, you guys will make the necessary adjustments?
Yeah, I can't. I think it'll be more 10 or 11. I just don't think, there's two things. I don't think guys are in position to play 38, 37 minutes, which they normally would be at this time of year. And the other part is 8 games in 15 nights. So no matter if they're in great shape, that is a tough stretch for any NBA team to be playing big minutes. So I think it'll be more 10 to 11.
Josh Cohen, OrlandoMagic.com.
Hey, Cliff. Along those same lines, does the play during scrimmages from Gary Clark, James Ennis, MCW, and the rest of them give you some added confidence in your team's depth as you get ready for your seeding games?
Yeah, I think you learn something every day. You watch the guys. Obviously, we didn't today, but we've scrimmaged a ton in practice too. And it's especially important now because, as you guys know, we just have, like every other team, we have guys who are in a lot of different places physically. Some guys, like I've said, were able to be in Orlando as soon as we were able to open Amway up. They got a lot of work in. Other guys, through no fault of their own, weren't able to get as much work in. And so, again, you're learning something every day about where guys are at with their games. And obviously, it's hard to play well if you're not in really good shape. So I think, again, we always watch practice closely, but I think these film sessions have been even more enlightening.
Josh Robbins.
Steve, would you please provide a health update where your team is in terms of who will be available tomorrow and as it stands now and who will not be?
Yeah, Wes was able to do non-contact things today. He still has some things he has to do, and he hasn't done any contact, so I'm not sure about him. With everybody else, we'll sit down when we get back to the hotel, and I'll sit down. We'll sit down with David and find out where he feels everybody's at.
At Welter, Spectrum Sports.
Steve, along those lines, anything specific you can add about Jonathan Isaac's status? And then the social media, the social justice messages came out today that the players were wearing their jerseys. Just your thoughts on that, how they decided to do that and the messages that they chose.
I mean, I think it's great. I think, we all have a platform here to, again, keep the conversation going. And there's obviously a great movement in our country right now, and we're all hopeful that we can be part of positive and sustainable change, the change that we need, against racism, bigotry, racial injustice. So I think that the messages, they're individual. The players put thought into them, and I think it's great and much needed.
Josh Cohen.
A couple of years back when you first met Jonathan Isaac, when you first got the Orlando job, could you tell right away that he had a great work ethic and the right demeanor and attitude to become the player that he's becoming now?
Yeah, I mean, and I know Leonard. We had Dwayne Bacon in Charlotte, so I got to know Leonard, and I'd spoken with him, and also, going through the process of the draft, watching Dwayne. I'd seen Jonathan play a lot at Florida State on film. So I knew obviously that he had a lot of talent, but as you get to know, they always say you don't truly know someone until you coach them. And he has real character. He has a maturity about him, a sense of where he is in his life and what he wants to become. And so he's fun to coach. He's highly motivated, and he puts the work in, and that's where it always starts for any player.
Okay, we have time for one or two more. Let's go to Jose Rodriguez.
Thank you. Coach, I wanted to ask you a little bit about what does it mean for you to see the league getting started again? I mean, it's a tough, a tough 2020, but sports are always a big part of this country, and I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, I think what we're all hoping is it can be a real positive for all the sports fans up there. And, I know that like all of you sitting at home during our play stoppage where we weren't allowed to work and, with no sports, I mean, I'm a sports nut, and it made it difficult. So I think that's what we're all hoping. It can be a shot in the arm for sports fans and provide some entertainment, which is really what the NBA is all about. And then selfishly, it's just the competition, the fun of coaching these guys, being around them, being around everybody involved with the Magic. That's the part that you miss the most, that and the competition of the game. So those to me, that's really my take on the whole thing.
Okay, we'll give the last one to Jamie Say.
Steve, just before you guys got to the bubble, I remember you talking about just so much uncertainty heading there. I'm just wondering, after these 3 weeks, do you have a good idea of how your guys might play tomorrow and how they might do over the next few weeks, what to expect?
I think we'll play hard. I think we have great intent. In terms of, am I confident that we'll play well? I think it's very difficult to have a feel for that. I mean, the first 3 or 4 games of every season is always, eye-opening. And that's with, like this year, 8 September workouts. I think we had this year 6 preseason exhibition games and a lot more practice that we've had now after the guys worked out for the whole summer. And this is, obviously not even close to that. So in terms of knowing with some certainty where we're at offensively or defensively, I'm eager to see that also.
Okay, thanks, Cliff. We'll see you tomorrow.